Hello, everybody, and welcome to EduMatch. So follow along with us on Twitter using the hashtag EduMatch, as well as on YouTube Live. We're on right now, podcast.edumatch.org/tweet talk. And speaking of EduMatch, did you know you could be the featured person of the day? So just go to edumatch.org and then just hover over Get Connected. And matter of fact, you can just click on the sign up button on the right-hand side. I forgot we got a facelift. So definitely check that out. So tonight we have an awesome guest with us. So we have Alexis here from Minnesota. So welcome, Alexis. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's exciting to be here. I've been keeping track of you for a while, so it's cool to actually meet you face to face now.
Absolutely. And same here. I'm always excited, and definitely excited to speak with you because you had a great topic where you're talking about student feedback. So that is so super important. So very excited to dive into this conversation. Awesome. But before we do that, could you tell us a little bit about you, like what your role is, what you do, and just anything else you want to share?
I'm a high school art teacher. I teach at an alternative high school. So we have about 400 students total that go through our school. It's pretty, small compared to some of the bigger high schools. I have like a little bit of a different schedule. I do 3-day classes and I do evening classes too. So a lot of our students who come for evening classes work full time. I do 10th through 12th grade. And my class is very student-centered, student-focused. It's a lot of choice, student choice, and I'm always looking for ways to use technology to help the students be more independent, work at their own pace. I just want them to have options, and I want them to learn what's out there and how to find resources and figure out their own learning path. So and I'm in Minnesota, southern Minnesota. So that's about it.
Well, that is awesome. Super excited to have you on here and to hear about your experiences.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
So you brought this topic up about student feedback. So why is it important for us as educators to get feedback from our students?
Well, I feel like the students, there's many reasons. The students are our main stakeholders. They're the ones that we're working for, right? They're the ones that are with us day in and day out. They see our bad sides. They see our good sides. They've been in school for 12 years. They've seen good teachers. They've seen bad teachers. They know what works for them. They know what doesn't work for them. So to get feedback from a colleague or an administrator who's only in my room maybe a few times a year, I appreciate that and I always want that. But I really want to know what my students are thinking. I want to know, am I doing a good job? Am I meeting, their needs? How can I improve the learning environment? They give me so much important feedback that I would be lost without it. So, it was a little scary at first to ask them, well, how am I doing? What do you think? Am I doing a good job? Rate me on a scale of 1 to 10. It's a little scary. But, they're so kind and they're honest. And, so now it's just fun. Like, I just enjoy so much when I get the feedback back and I sort of compilate it. And then I use it to plan my next quarter because we do quarters. So, yeah.
Well, that is cool. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up question to that.
Yeah.
How did you get over that initial fear and say, okay, this is something that I'm going to do and I'm just going to stick with it? So how did you move past that?
I don't know. I guess that's part of my personality. Like I'm a risk taker that way. And so if I hear of an idea like in a workshop or like George Kuros came to our district in February, that's why I'm on Twitter. I started on Twitter in February. It's like, oh, I just want to try it and see. And so it's just like that leap of faith. You just take a jump and just go for it and trust that it's going to work. And every time I've done that in education, taken a risk, especially when it comes to my students, it's always worked. Like I've never been sorry that I've put myself out there and taken that risk with them because I find my students especially to be the most forgiving people I know. They, you know, they get over things if I have a bad day or if I do something, that I'm regret. The next day it's like we start over, and they accept me the way I am. So my students make it easy to take that risk. And I also have an administration at my school that's very supportive. They want all of us teachers to try new things and experiment. And if it doesn't work, they're fine with that. So I'm not afraid that the students are going to go to them and say, oh, well, she's doing this and that, because I know my administrator has my back. So that makes it easy too.
Yeah, absolutely. So that climate of trust is very important, and I'm glad that you have that with your students and with your administrators. That really makes things makes the process a lot easier on everyone. And also wanted to give a huge shout out to George Koros, because he is just awesome. So absolutely.
Yeah, I think I had one follower on Twitter when I went to his workshop. You know what I mean? Like, I'd been on Twitter for like 6 years, but I had no clue how to use it or what it was. So
yeah,
he's amazing. Yeah,
I totally hear you on that. Yeah, he is definitely he's definitely an inspiration. So yeah,
just like you.
Oh, thank you so much. And you too, you too. So, absolutely. So with this feedback that you get from your students, then how do you use that to guide your instruction?
Well, so I'm really excited about I give them, right now I give them a questionnaire at the beginning of the quarter and a questionnaire at the end of the quarter. And at the end of last year, I gave them a form. It had 10 questions on it, and it sort of covered many different areas in the classroom. Their learning, how I'm doing, how the classroom's set up, materials, who we might want to invite into the classroom for next year. And so what I did, you can kind of see here, this is the form. I don't know if it's easy to see, but I compiled all the data onto a blank form. So I took every single answer that they gave me. And so 27 people chose, when I said, how do you prefer to communicate about deadlines, feedback, and work? My options were face-to-face, email, text, social media, handwritten communication, or other, and that was like a phone call. 27 people picked face-to-face, and that was surprising to me. Like, I'm thinking, oh, they're teenagers in the 21st century, like they want social media, they want to be techie, they want to, they're always screen time, but it's like, no, they want face-to-face. They want to have a conversation with me. They want that attention from me. So I'm going to be aware of that now as I look to this following year. I'm going, okay, I want to make sure that I give every student who wants it as much one-on-one face-to-face time as they need. And that'll be a question I'll ask them again at the beginning of the quarter. Another question that I'm really curious about, because I'm wanting my students, there are two big goals I have for my students this year. One is helping those that are like in 11th and 12th grade sort of figure out what they're going to do after high school in regards to the arts. Like, are they going to go to college? Are they going to work? How are they going to just continue their own artistic practice? Like, what are they going to do when they graduate? And so I want to have a series of people coming into the school to give like career talks or just art talks about what they did after high school. And one resource that I've wanted to tap into my whole teaching career, and I've done it a little bit here and there, but it's a tricky thing, is parents. We live in this amazing multicultural community here in Rochester, Minnesota. We have the Mayo Clinic and IBM, and there are people from all over the world. My students come from all over the world, and I want their parents to come in and share, what if they're doing any cool art things. So one of the questions that I asked on this form was, here, let me find it. Would you like me to communicate more with your parents? because I'm the type of person, I'll send emails out to every parent, and then I'll be like, uh-oh, I shouldn't have sent email to that parent. Like at the alternative school, like there's some parents that are not involved and don't want to be involved, and they could cause problems if you get too involved. So I want to hear from the students. Do you want me to communicate with their parents? And so my different options were, do you want me to communicate with them about projects we're doing in class? Do you want me to communicate with them about, or invite them to come in and share their knowledge? And do you want me to communicate with them about grades and classroom procedures? And most of the students said that they would like invitations for their parents to come in and share their knowledge, which was so exciting. And of course, I'm not just going to send out a mass email to all parents. At the beginning of the year, then I'm going to ask the students, who would like your parents to come in, phone number, contact information, because the students know, they know if their parents would be good in this setting or not. And if they'd be embarrassed, if their parents, would cause problems, they're not going to want them to come in. And if they're proud of their parents and excited for a skill that they have, then they're going to want them to come in. So I'm really, really excited about those two pieces, guiding my instruction. I think also just, I asked questions about materials. Are there certain materials that we didn't have in the room that you wish we had in the room? I do like a track system where a student picks a course of study, like they had to do drawing, they do ceramics, they do painting, and they sort of navigate through videos and one-on-one instruction and stuff. They navigate through that course of study. So I want to add another course of study, and so I just ask them, which one would you want? If I added another one, which one would you think would be your favorite? And it was interesting because they really were just like, they all sound good, like anything that you pick. So that's an area where I would have thought, oh, they're really going to have a specific want for that, but they didn't. So they shocked me, in some areas that, like I thought they'd be more techie, they're not. A lot of times when I ask them, like, tell me something about yourself that you want me to know. It's just an open invitation. And a lot of times I just have students who say NA, or I can't think of anything, or so that tells me a lot. It's like that trust, and that it's going to take time. And eventually those students do end up telling me, and it's usually a lot of deep stuff, and it's too overwhelming to put on a form. But yeah, so it pretty much dictates everything I do in the classroom, the feedback that they give me.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of great questions that you mentioned in there. I really love the piece about bringing the parents into the classroom and helping, connecting with the parents in that way. So I thought that was really, really cool because, a lot of times parents may feel out of the loop. So what better way to get them in than to involve them in the conversation, and in the lessons. So I thought that was, yeah, definitely. So, so what have been like some important lessons that you've learned from getting student feedback? I heard you talk about a few of them, but what have been like some other kinds of lessons that you've learned, like maybe ahas that have come out of this data?
I've had a couple ahas that were not in ways that I expected, because, a lot of times as a teacher, a lot of us, I can't speak for everyone else, but focused on content, my curriculum. Like, do I know what I'm doing? Do I know how to fire this pot and make sure to teach them how to use glaze properly? And I get worried about that. But so much on these, on their feedback, it's more emotional, and they want a connection with you as the teacher. And so I, at the beginning of every quarter, with the new students, I ask them the question, what is a characteristic that you most value in a teacher? And let me find the feedback on that. You know, I'm thinking that they're going to say things like that they're smart and that, you know, they're well organized and they have their lessons prepared and they know what they're doing and that they're inspiring and that kind of stuff. That's what I would have said. But they say things like, well, at my school, my students said that they value someone who's friendly, who's kind, who takes time, who cares about them, who helps them when they're struggling. I mean, it was just like over and over. And I made a Wordle out of it, and that's what I wanted to post on the screen, but I can't find where it is. And I have it like a hard copy at school. But the big words are like friendly, helpful, caring, honest, trustworthy. And it was an epiphany for me because it's like, that's what I need to be focusing on every day, is that relationship with them. The content, I've been doing art for 45 years, or not quite that long, but because I didn't do it when I came out of the womb, but for 40 years I've been doing it. And it's like, that part I've got down, you know, but this student who's walking into my door right now, I've never met before. So this is my first time meeting them and working with them. And so that's what I need to focus on and work on and spend my energy on. Another thing that, it wasn't so much an epiphany, but it was just kind of, it struck me. It was kind of like a sad moment. I asked the question, what would you like me to know about you? And I just figured that's open-ended. You know, maybe they want to tell me that they live with their grandparents instead of their parents, or that they really love football. This one girl told me she was a falcon. What do they call it? Someone who has a falcon and they fly. Like, that was the coolest thing. I mean, I've never known anyone who does falconry. But this one year at the beginning of the year when I gave that question out, 3 boys, and you could tell that these are boys that have probably not been very successful in school, maybe had some behavior problems and stuff. They just very simply wrote that I'm a good person. And it was just sort of like, that's so sad that like that they're gonna assume that I'm gonna think they're bad right off the bat. You know, that I'm gonna come in with that negative. And so that just, you know, just, it gives me more information about where they're coming from and how confident they're feeling about themselves as students. A lot of my students they haven't had a positive experience in school. So they're coming in, a lot of them kind of beaten down and feeling, you know, like a failure. So, so those are 2. I think that first one is the big lesson that I've learned. I think the other thing is just asking them. I want them to tell me how I'm doing. Like, I'll say, what advice would you give the teacher to improve the class? And that's a hard question. I mean, that is one of the hard questions, because you look at it and there's maybe a student who you really look up to, or you just admire them. You think they're doing a great job. They're, you know, doing everything they need to be doing, and they give you a hard piece of advice. And it's kind of like, oh, well, this student isn't like a jerk. I mean, I have to actually listen to this piece of advice. Like, a student once said to me in this feedback, she said, you know, I wish that the classroom management was that it was a little quieter in class. And she's like, you know, that some of the students don't respect you. And she said, and I wish that they did. And it was a very caring thing that she was saying, because she was concerned about me, but she was also concerned about her own learning environment. And it's gotten to the point too where students, after I've gotten to know them in class, because I'm an emotional person, like, I'm someone who talks to my body, and I'm trying to kind of bring that down a little bit, because students leave my room more excited, you know, more like hyped up when they come in. But sometimes in class, a student will say to me, just, it's okay, Miss Eckrow, just calm down. Just, you know, but kind of whisper that to me, like, I got you. Like, just, you're going to be fine, you know. And then I'm kind of like, oh, okay. And I appreciate that feedback because it's like we've got this working relationship, and I don't know. So the lesson is ask. I want to know how I'm doing, and even if it's not, you know, something positive or something that I would see as being flattering, I guess, I want to know if I'm doing something that's not working for them.
Totally. I hear you on that. And that's a great thing that you brought up right there about how we need to be prepared to hear the good and the bad.
Yes.
And just definitely, you know, hold what they're saying, respect what they're saying. You know, even if sometimes it stings. I can remember some situations where I've gotten some feedback. I'm like, ooh, you know.
Sting is a good, it hits you right in the gut. You're just kind of like, I'm gonna throw up, and then it passes. But
exactly. But I mean, you know, it's really good to hear their feedback and to know what works for them and what doesn't work, because they're the people who know. You know, they're the ones that it's their learning. So that's good stuff.
And sometimes they, you know, I have students. I had this one student last year. I adored him, but he was so checked out of school. And I give him this form, and he's like, nothing, didn't learn anything. I don't, you know, what could the teacher do better? Everything. You know, what could you know, it was just like, so, and it was his personality. Like, so I knew not to take that to heart. Like, he's not present in the room. And so you do get feedback that you have to kind of, you know, take with a grain of salt too, or go have a conversation with that student. But because I had a good relationship with him, it was kind of like I knew where he was coming from. But, you know, kind of had to ignore some of the feedback depending on the student.
Yeah, I totally hear you. That's one thing that's good that brought to mind. Like not doing them necessarily anonymously, you know, so that you can.
Yeah. No, I don't do them anonymous. I mean, I guess I say that if they want to, but they always put their name. So it's like.
Yeah, because I mean, like when it's not anonymous, then you're able to go back and follow up. And
exactly,
you know,
and that's the piece.
Yeah, like I remember a situation where, you know, there were some students that were like, I asked them about like how easy or how difficult was the class, and you know, some of them said it was way easy. So it was good to know who said it was way easy to, you know, go back and be like, okay, well, you know, what are your thoughts to, you know, maybe make it a little bit more challenging.
Well, and what can you do to make the course more challenging for yourself instead of relying on the teacher to always. Yeah,
absolutely. That is the truth. That is the truth. So yeah. So this was a great discussion. Really appreciated your great insight on the topic. And thank you. And just on Twitter, then there's a graphic that is circulating. So if anyone wants to jump in with their responses on Flipgrid, then we have that code up there, 3FCCOE. Is the Flipgrid code. So chime in with your responses about how you use student feedback, as well as if anyone wants to create a Google form and just tweet it out so that, you know, other people can kind of see what it looks like, and or blog or vlog about the role that it plays in your instruction, and tweet it with the hashtag EduMatch. So just a couple ways to extend the learning this week, so to get everybody in on it. So absolutely wanted to thank you again, Alexis, for all of this amazing, all of these amazing tips for educators. So this was great.
Thank you. It was so fun to meet you.
Oh, it's fun to meet you as well.
We'll talk soon because I got a lot of questions for you.
Too. Oh, I'm looking forward to them. Yes.
Yeah, we need a flip interview next time. I'll interview you.
Definitely down for that.
Okay.
So cannot wait. And next week, for all the viewers out there, for the next 2 weeks, we will be off the regular Tweet and Talk schedule. Next week, we will have a special episode with Sanal, who will be talking about increasing the number of girls in STEM. The following week, it will be birthday weekend for me. Whoop, whoop. So,
what's your birthday?
Oh, September 10th. So yeah.
Mine's September 30th.
Oh, yay! September babies in the house. So I will probably be off with the family. So no Sweet and Talk that week, but the following week on the 17th, we're coming back with Desiree, who will be leading a great conversation. So go ahead and sign up at podcasts with an s.edumatch.org/sign up. And definitely looking forward to seeing you all back next Sunday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then after that on September 17th at our regular time. So subscribe if you like us, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, etc., etc., etc. All right, everyone, have a fantastic week.